You show that person, hey man, I'm here about money. I'm here to make a profit, but I'm here to help you first.
All right, Travis Goodwin. Thank you for making a time side interview to see what kind of cool things you're doing in West Virginia.
Thank you. Thank you. It's a pleasure. Long overdue. I'm happy to be here.
What made you decide to invest in real estate?
Cool. I love it. I love that question. That question always brings me back and gets me reflecting. So just to zoom out real quick, I started off about 8 years ago into real estate. I didn't come from like a real estate background. I didn't have, rich dad, poor dad. I had a poor dad, just not a rich dad.
Did you read the book though?
Of course. At one time, I had like 3 copies of that book. I've gave them away over time though. But yeah, I read that book honestly. That's what brought, just like everybody. A good friend of mine named Chris, rest in peace. He let me borrow a book. It was Rich Dad Poor Dad. That opened up my mind. I started to research, did a little bit of researching, then I had to take a bunch of action, meaning that I had to get on a bunch of uncomfortable phone calls and go inside houses and really talk to people. That was scary. But that's how that started. I come from pizza delivery and Dollar General jobs, stuff like that. I've always been a little lazy, okay? Meaning that I didn't like to work for other people and like I'd get sick. Like I'd set out in front of my job. I'd show up early and then I'd still be late 5 minutes because I would just be setting out in my car and I hated it. I hated going in. I hated to deal with the environment. And that's what really, I just didn't want it anymore. I feel like you can want something, then you can need something. I needed it. I needed to get out of that situation. I needed to get out of that toxic environment. And when you need something great enough, when the need is great enough, nothing can stop.
I love it.
First thought was I read the book and I was like, "Oh my gosh, this opened up my mind, to a whole new level of thinking." And then I was like, I started looking up on YouTube and I was like, well, "If all these other guys can do it, then I can do it." Then I was like, "Let's just go. Let's see if it works." I don't really remember exactly like what my thought process was. I don't think I really thought a lot. I was just like, "You know what? I'm doing it. I'm going to make this."
Ryan.
Yeah.
Was action. Okay. So what's the first action it took? Going outdoor. I think a lot of people started with not out cash in the pocket. So they start with wholesale.
Thought I was gonna be a fix and flipper and a landlord, then I started to learn a little bit about it, and then, somebody that's lazy like me, and I don't
Too
have a
much
lot of
work.
yeah, I was like, "Man, I don't know for me, maybe I'm looking into the wrong thing." And then I started to research more and more, and I found an interview on YouTube, and it was a radio show, and this guy was talking about how he was wholesaling real estate, and he explained the process. So first thing that I did was I paid that guy. I didn't know who he was, I found him, I seen he had a course, I paid for it, I paid $500 for the course, and I took the course and I learned it. And as soon as I learned it, I just took massive imperfect action, meaning that I went and I found a program. I don't even know if the program still exists anymore. There's so many more programs and softwares now, but I found a program. It was a free trial. It gave me like 100 people to call for free. So I sat outside of my house and I sat there with my computer in my hand and a phone and I just dialed, hand dialed. And I was so nervous that I remember literally somebody would say hello and I'd go, and I'd hang up.
Remember that feeling. Yeah.
Yeah.
You're like, you tell you die around the I'm sorry.
Exactly. Yeah, so nervous, so uncomfortable, and that was my first thing that I did, and then I decided I wanted to go and drive around. So I started driving around with a notepad and my girlfriend and my little boy in the back. He was just a baby. We'd drive around for an hour and we'd just go through the neighborhoods and we'd write down properties. I remember getting frustrated. Like I'd be driving and she'd miss the address and we'd have to circle the block 3 times. That was before like Deal Machine, like you can see on my hat. I'm a big sponsor of Deal Machine. I love them. That's before like the apps came around that made it easier for you.
Right.
So that's how I found my first deal was riding around and looking for vacant
Driving with
properties.
that.
My girlfriend said, "Hey, do you see that house right there?" And I said, "Yeah." She said, "That looks empty to me. You should reach out to that one." I sent a postcard and history was made.
So it was not empty then.
It was empty. Yeah, it was empty. So The situation was the lady who called me was the sister of the owner, and the sister was in a nursing home. The woman I talked to was the power of attorney, so she was helping her sister deal with the house and deal with this vacant house. It was a problem. It had foundation issues. It was just stressful for him. So I came in and I provided a solution.
So this just probably at that.
She most likely had the mail forwarded to her house, so she didn't always have to go pick up mail there. You just go to the post office and say, "Hey, I need my mail forwarded to this address now," and that's what they do.
Oh, that is such a big tips because I feel a lot of people try, oh, it's empty house. I didn't think about that. You can still send the mail.
You could also, before you send the mail, let's say you're driving around and you see a vacant property and it's vacant. You could get out, you could stand there and you could look at the house for a little while and see if any neighbors come out and ask you questions. And if they don't, knock on a few neighbors' doors. Try to get their curiosity at first. And if you stand around the neighborhood long enough, usually somebody asks you what you're doing. And neighbors know everything.
And
They'll tell you the whole story about who lived there. Even if they don't know everything, they know at least a little bit.
that sister reached out to you, to you because she saw you now. So can you tell us more what happened?
The condition was like, you can picture it, just your outdated grandma type of house. It wasn't in horrible shape, like as far as like roof falling in or anything like that. The big problem was there was a chimney, like a smoke chimney for fire. The chimney was really heavy and it was in the middle of the house. So the chimney was making the foundation shift and the house was moving away from the chimney. So the buyers who bought it had to come in and rip the chimney out. They had to take the whole chimney out from the middle of the house
Wow.
and repair the foundation problem. Yeah, it's pretty crazy. So what happened was, this was before I had a bunch of buyers. I didn't have a whole list. I had one buyer. They were fix and flippers.
Yeah,
Okay.
lots of big stuff.
Yep. So what I did was I called them and I was just like, "Hey guys, I have a house. This is the one I have for you guys. You want to come look at it?" So they came look at it. They gave me their number. So then I told the sister what the number would be, and then that was it. She said yes. Now it was that there is some crazy stuff that happened. Okay. It wasn't so simple. I didn't get paid a wholesale fee on this. I got paid a finder's fee. This was almost like a bird dog deal for me. My first
That's big.
one.
Realize that I'm actually get paid for self.
Yeah.
Like,
So I didn't get paid an assignment. I got paid like a bird dog acquisition fee. Like it was like $1,000 or something like that. It's very small. Okay. That was my first proof of concept. Right. But I had them come. We gave the offer. Everything was working good until the day of closing. On the day of closing, this was my first deal. I didn't know how to coordinate and how to go back and
that's
forth.
where did I send my EMD?
So what had happened, because the sister did not have to technically be at closing because it was the nursing home sister that had to sign it. Everything was done through documents and she's in a nursing home. So I didn't let the seller know what was going on, like the sister know what was going on. So the buyers closed on the house. The sister that I was talking to didn't know that they closed on it yet. And the guys that bought it went over there and changed the lock. So they were over there with doors coming off and the neighbors were like, "What's going on?" So then the lady calls me and she's like, "You guys don't own that property yet. Why are you guys over there?" And I'm like, "What is going on?" And it
Right,
was
they
just
haven't signed.
it was just all a bunch of miscommunication. That never would have happened if I knew what I was doing. So I knew from that point on, for every deal that I do, every deal up until closing, I have to stay in touch. And if you don't do it, you got to have somebody in place to do it, a transactional coordinator, but every deal that I do, let's say we have 3 weeks until closing, 2 weeks until closing. I'm going to reach out to the buyer. I'm going to reach out to the seller, and I'm going to reach out to the title company at least once a week until closing. "Hey, what's
Oh,
going on? I'm just making sure everything's moving smooth. Is there anything we need to
right.
worry about?"
When target close date is this day and you expect to get
Now
payment,
we're
this is the
Yeah, communication is everything. I'm a full-time real estate investor, meaning that my day-to-day activity means I have to go out and I have to be in houses, give offers, have conversations. I also do some coach. I have a few students. Mainly all I'm doing is finding deals. I'm going out, I'm sourcing the deal. Then once I source the deal, I package it up with a contract. We buy it and then we clean it out and we usually put it on the market. So instead of just wholesaling it, we'll buy it, clean it out, then try to sell it for a profit once we own it. So we do a lot of that. We do some fix and flipping. I don't fix and flip myself. I have joint venture partners that flip houses and I'll do joint venture partnerships with them. I call it next level wholesaling.
That's smart. Yeah, anybody who's gonna progress, I would agree with that.
It's funny because like I'll get a good deal. I mean, a smoking hot deal, and I'll send it out to some buyers buyers to see if I can maybe get somebody to buy it before I have to list it, or if I can just wholesale it. And I don't get very good offers, or I get crickets. Then I buy it, put it on the market, and some of these same people go on the market and will pay more. I don't know. I don't understand it either, but yeah, I find that on the market you're reaching more buyers.
More buyer. Are you a realtor?
No, I'm not a realtor. God bless all realtors. I'm telling you, you guys have a hard job. I don't have any interest in being a realtor. We do use, I have like an auctioneer that I use, and I have a regular real estate agent that we use for like if we do fix and flips, or if we put them on the market as is.
I see. But it's gonna work out the listing.
We pay him a commission. We pay the realtor we use. Her name's Misty. She's one of the best realtors I know, and we make sure she's paid and taken care of, and that builds the relationship. Some people think, oh, well, I've worked with Travis for a long time. Let's see if I can get our percentage split to go down. I don't want to pay Travis that much anymore. We're at 50-50. I want to give him 40% because we have a relationship now. I think of it the other way. I'm always trying to figure out how I can pay you more and keep you around and make you happy. And I feel like that's a good relationship. It's not all about money, but when you have a good person and a good, genuine person and honest, trustworthy, and then they pay you really good too, that's awesome.
That's how you lock them out. Hey, how can I pay you the lowest possible?
Some people just aren't replaceable. Some people, it don't matter how much money you have, how many people you can hire, you can't replace people.
Or do you work at any other state?
I have. I've done a lot. I've done a bunch in Ohio. I've done some stuff in Georgia. I plan to do some deals in the future in Tennessee and some in Maryland. But other than that, not really. I like to stay focused and hone in on my little area. I'm a small market guy. I like to go and sit down at the kitchen table and meet
So
people.
do you have any other interesting deal you can share?
Yeah, I have tons of that's a good question. I have so many learning experience from this business. There's one that comes to my mind, but I share it a lot. I'm trying to think of one that I haven't really
Yeah,
shared.
it's not out there yet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've learned a lot. I've learned how to slow down with people, how everything's not about a quick contract. I've learned how to be upfront more, how to fight those butterflies and say the things that most people don't want to say. Nobody ever wants to say, hey, there's a chance this contract's not going to work out. Nobody wants to say, hey, I'm not really the one buying this property. Or, hey, you could probably get more if you just list it.
That's
All
actually my best line. I love it because it's brutally honest, but you can surprise a lot of can sellers because a lot of people come out, they can promise that sunshine and rainbow and all that, but you
So, when I'm very upfront, like I like to set when I get on a call with someone or appointment, I like to set the agenda. Like, hey, look, it's very nice to meet you and talk with you. Like, I'm definitely interested in buying, but I just want to let you know before we get started, before I interrogate you about, the roof and the HVAC and all of that, hey, there's no hard feelings here. If I give you an offer and you don't like it, that's completely fine. But I'm going to be upfront with you today. I'm here to buy and I'm looking to make money too. So the price that I do give you, it's got to make sense for everybody here. I want it to be fair for everyone. And if it's not fair, I'd rather you fire me. Get rid of me. I notice when I do that, it really lowers the pressure. And they're like, this guy might be a little different. And that helps. And I'm always just saying stuff like that. Like, look, it's okay to say no to me, but I'm going to be honest with you. I'm not a yes man. I'm not the person that's going to come into your house and tell you everything you like to hear. Now, do you want me to tell you the truth, or do you want me to tell you a lie that makes you feel good? This is the stuff I'm saying to people to just have them open up to me, to show them that, hey, I'm not here to take advantage of you. I know I got to get it up because that's what people think. When I give that low ball offer, if I don't explain and I'm not telling people the things that I'm telling you right now, it looks disrespectful. It sounds insulting to them. When you're not up front and let them know, like, for example, I remember I watched a movie one time. I thought it was funny. This guy lived with his mom and he had a girlfriend that didn't know that he lived with his mom. They were about to go home and he finally just told her, he was like, hey, I live with my mom. She's like, oh, I really appreciate that. Instead of just walking in and seeing mom in there, yeah, give the heads up. Hey, I might be a little bit lower, but hey, I can offer a really, really no hassle process. Speed and convenience is what I offer. Like, I didn't always do it this way, and I used to just throw numbers and hope it stuck to the wall to
Yep.
people. That's a good experience. I walked into a house, I gave a guy an offer, and he looked right at me, pointed to the door, and said, "Get out." I swear. He's like, "Get out." And I was like, "Really?" And he's like, "Go." And I was like, "I'm gone." This is a people business. You got to know how to talk to people. You can't be so reactive with people. If they're in a bad mood, don't get in a bad mood back. Offer them a gift. Hey, it sounds like you're having a bad day. Do you like coffee? Oh, well, you know what? I have this great coffee. It's blah, 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 blah. I'd like to send you some. Give them reason to try to smile. It's not gonna work with everybody. Sometimes people my grandpa, before he died, he was one of the most unhappiest people in the world. He's been
Happy time.
yeah, yeah, like, you did not wanna go around people, like that, but, sometimes you get those people, but sometimes people just having a bad day, and they don't feel like anybody cares, so, if you can become that person that shows that you care, you'll stick out.
They can like you better, trust you better. Ooh, I love it. So what does your team look like?
Very small team. I'm a solopreneur, right? Like, I don't want a bunch of employees. I don't want all that. I'm cool if you do. God bless you. That's fine. We can still be friends, guys, okay? But that's not my thing. So, I do a lot of the work on the acquisition side on my own. So this is how it looks. Usually it's me, and you got me. I'm working through leads. I'm talking to people. I'm showing up. I'm giving offers. I have a couple of guys that they're not on my team, but they're joint venture partners that will do some acquisition help. They'll work some leads with me. I got people sending me leads all the time. I work with a bunch of JV partners, is what I do. So my team is about 3 JV partners right now. We have our realtor, the auctioneer, and a VA. That's it. So there's auctions and foreclosure auctions, tax auctions, but then there's regular auctions where it's like a service. Anybody can do it. Like anybody could auction their house type of service. You pay a reserve fee and they auction it for you. So I use him as a resource. He's actually become a friend. It's funny. He has been trying to get me and my other partner, David, to just go out to lunch and talk for like a year. And it's hard to get me to go out for lunch because I'm out in houses, and we finally met and sat down and it was great. He paid for the lunch. So Keith, if you're watching this, we'll go out for lunch more, man. Okay. But resources. Keith is a resource for me. So if I have a property and I'm not sure of the value, I can send it to Keith. I can send it to Misty and I can say, hey guys, what could it go for? What's the value here? And that's what I rely on them for.
Ah,
And then
for
in
them to give you
they get
comp.
they get business from me. They get to sell our houses and they get to get referred business because I'm not a realtor, but I'm a people person. I'm a go-giver in a way. And if I go out to your house and I'm not your best fit, I'm just going to pass you on to Keith or Misty. I'm going to help you out still and I'm going to help them out. And we build a really good atmosphere like that.
Oh, and is Misty also a realtor at local? Do you
Yes.
take with lunch, just like friends?
I've found that when you're doing them in person, face to face, elbow to elbow, the deals don't fall out as much
Correct.
out of escrow, meaning that, when you're doing a virtual business, most of the time, 34 to 40% of your contracts fail, if not more. That's if you're a good operator. If you're just beginning, you're probably only closing like 30, 40% of your deals virtually. Okay.
Right.
Because there's no infrastructure, you don't know anybody, it's harder, right? I don't cancel that many deals. If I cancel a deal, it's because there's a title problem. And I don't want to like go that deep into it to fix it. I don't feel like the butter, the bread is that good there, you know what I mean? So yeah, I think when you're local, you build a reputation, you get referrals. I mean, you can build a huge authority like that. It's hard to build an authority brand on a national level as a wholesaler.
Right. And so you kept the net supply. It's kind of hard to go deep.
Oh, yeah. But it's doable. I think all of this stuff works if you work. Like, I know guys crushing it virtually. I know guys doing it locally. It depends on what you want. I really like the hybrid model. I have a student right now that wants to build houses in, gosh, he's in Putnam County, Tennessee. Okay. And my plan is to eventually do deals with him. So, if I have a very trustworthy person in that area, I'll go virtual. If I don't have anybody there as an operator, it doesn't interest me as much.
Right. I found the same way. Tip that you can share with the audience who trying to start this, just starting on real estate. They have no money in the pocket. What's your recommendations?
I hate to be the guru breaker here, but I think you got to have a little bit of money. Just a little bit for gas, maybe a
Well,
notepad,
yes, yes.
your phone bill, your internet bill. All that stuff helps a lot. You don't need it, but it
Yeah.
really is a benefit. Like if you have a couple $100s a month to spend with that stuff, you're good. You know what I mean? But I
Okay.
would say you're going to have some money for some gas to get around to go to appointments, unless you're virtual. But what I would do is focus on the ugliest houses. Go into your county, call up the code enforcement. They don't have a list, so don't call and ask for a list. Say, I'm an investor. I need to fix up properties. I'm looking for the really bad ones, the ones that's giving you guys a hard time, the ones that you put notes on the door. Could you help me out here? Could you give me some addresses? And usually they'll email you some addresses if it's not always, sometimes they're available online. You can go through the code violation website and it's there, okay? You just gotta do
It's
your
to the
re
county courthouses I have looking for a list of house.
The reason why that's not my favorite list by any means. Like, I like probate, I like tax lien, but code violations is the heaviest motivation because the city's on their case now. With taxes and probates, that usually has a delay, usually, okay? There's usually a time frame there. So code violations usually mean if I don't cut my grass, if I don't put on my roof, if I don't board up my windows of that house, they're coming after me, okay? So I would go around if I had little to no money, okay, and I'd build that list. And if I was in person, I'd go there, I'd put notes on all the doors, I would talk to all the neighbors, and by notes, I mean little post-it notes. Like I have, see here, I keep them with me, these little post-it notes right here. And I just put, hey, I have a question about this property, Travis, call me. That's it. Not
Ah,
that
I
I'm
see.
looking to buy it, nothing like that. And then I just leave that on all the doors. Then I'd go use something like Fast People Search, True People Search, something that's free.
Get
I'd
trained.
put it yep, and I'd find them for free, and I'd start calling everybody on that list. I'd leave notes, I'd call, I'd talk to the neighbors, I'd send them a mail piece if I could afford it, and I just beat that list up over and over again until they answered me.
That's the cheapest way to find lead for sure, and there's a motivation.
Yes, definitely.
Okay.
I'll tell you about a deal I didn't get paid anything on, and this was a freaking crazy one. So, it was a probate, and she told us it was just her that needed to sign it. She was responsible. We did the title search, and man, it was all messed up.
Multiple ears.
10.
10. Oh my.
10 heirs. Listen to this. 2 of them were juveniles, and 1 of them was in prison. Yeah, we had to do the affidavit of heirships, and the court had to approve the 2 juveniles and the person in prison. So it took like a year. Oh, here's a good one too. Listen to this one. This one, I did get paid off of this one. This one's a real good one. So Jack and Zachary, okay? This was years.
Okay.
Jack is no longer with us. Great man he was. I sat down at that kitchen table with both of those guys, and we had a great talk. He grew up in this house, but West Virginia is a hillside. So when you're 75 years old, cutting grass in West Virginia is not fun, okay? And he had a decent yard, but it was
And
all
they
hill.
have village too. Each one have
Right, yeah. So, we did the deal, we signed it up, we did the title search, but there was a problem, okay? And what the problem was, the deed had been, like, transferred in their name by the other attorney, but the probate was never done for
so
the
the
house.
Nazi had to be reversed back then?
So, what happened, there was, like, an uncle or something like that, and the uncle had sold it to them, and when he sold it, the probate didn't finish. Something happened, and somebody I forget the exact thing, but there was some weird problem there, and even though the deed was in their name, they couldn't sell it to us until that signature was placed for whoever the uncle, the dead person, I forget what it was exactly.
Uh-huh.
But this was like a 5-month process, and we were digging in trying to find people. The attorneys we live in an attorney-based state. They will do so much, but then it's up to you. It's up to you usually to dig deep and try to find people, and if you want it done quickly. And I remember when we closed that deal, I remember that they were just so happy because they had no idea. They thought they owned that house fully, that they could do whatever they wanted with. They had been living there for like 10 years.
Right. Nobody would care. Like, they probably doing a really cheap, like, quick, clean deal, like,
Yeah, who knows what they did. We don't know what happened because the attorney that did it, they were gone and not in business no more. Yeah, they did something shady is what they did. They didn't go by the whole process like they were supposed to go for the probate process here in West Virginia. Something was messed up. But that's what you run into. You run into these ugly title issues, but a lot of the times when you run into them, you can make good money on those deals if you structure it right. Like
yeah.
that guy, I remember they wanted $70,000 for their house, and I was only able to pay 9 grand. Like, that's a huge
70,000 to 9 grand? Alright, tell me more about it.
and I think I signed it for, I made, like, 4 grand or something, I signed it for, like, 14 grand total. It should have been more, but they had to pay, the attorney fees. They covered the probate costs because the sellers didn't have it. But, yeah, imagine that conversation. Calling and saying, "Hey, guys."
Your kids sell.
Well, imagine the conversation saying, "Hey, guys, you want 70 grand, and, I can only offer you 9." Imagine that conversation. That it's hard. It's hard, but again, it goes back to being a people person and being upfront. I remember calling him and saying, "Hey, man," instead of just giving him an offer, I remember saying, "Hey, like, I don't think I'm the best option for you. Like, man, you might want to find another buyer because I ran my number and my math and I'm in a whole different ballpark than you are. And I just can't do what you need. And I'm sorry. I love meeting you. I'd love to do business with you, but we're far apart." And, that's when you let silence do the talking and
Deed
you listen.
expert. And silent.
And then he gets back and he says, "Man, where you need to be? Where do you need to be?" That's how you get a deal done. You show that person, "Hey, man, I'm here about money. I'm here to make a profit, but I'm here to help you first." Like, it's up to you to make the decision right now, Zach. You want to take a low ball or take a higher number, but I don't think that I would take the low ball, but it's up for you to decide that now. And then they're like, "Wow." I just think everybody else sounds the same. I think everybody comes into these appointments. They all want to beat you up on price. And this is all the stuff wrong with your house. But these people know what's wrong with their house. They've lived there all these years most of the time.
You need to
You don't
tell them. Yeah.
yeah. Remind them and let them know you're aware. Plant the seed, but really just show them that you're there for them and figure out what's it going to take today to do business. Why am I here today?
I don't really care about a house. Let's sit down and see how I can help you. I can see why you're flourishing in your market. Gonna stick out.
I tell people all the time, if you're my competition, I love my competition. I have nothing bad to say about them. They're good guys too, okay? But if you're my competition, the only way you're going to beat me is if you pay more than me. That's the only way you can beat me is if I call back and they're like, "You know what? Those guys offer 3 times more than you." And I'm like, "You know what?
Get
I was
it?
that offer
I
too."
go with them.
Yeah, right.
I want to thank you so much for your time to joining with me today to share your wisdom, and I look forward to get to know you more. And then I think you're gonna be my first person to call. I mean, me coming in by the West Virginia.
Thank you. I appreciate you coming to West Virginia, and I wish we would have been able to connect next time you come. If you come, we'll have to meet and sit down and have a lunch. But
Absolutely.
thank you for having me on here. And if it's okay, can I just tell people how to contact me?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, if you can just tell audience how to contact you.
This has been very nice. I like your style. I like your energy. This makes you feel good when you have a good vibe. But yeah, guys, you can follow me on Facebook. I have a free Facebook group. I don't charge anything for it. It's called Small Market Real Estate Investing. But if you guys want to work with me or send me some deals, phone number is 304-444-6744. So yeah, hopefully we can talk again. I appreciate you.
Of course, I can't wait to meet you again. We'll grab some lunch or dinner together.
All right, sounds good.